Good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee. The setting under the lights here tonight for a big North American Division showdown between the visiting Dumont Huskies and the Fort Lee Bridgemen. As Fort Lee trying to continue their march to repeating as divisional champions, they're going to have to take down a Huskies side here today that they dispatched earlier this season back on September 14th on the road in a tight game that afternoon. It was only a one-goal decision, a 3-2 win. So if Fort Lee can pick up that win, that will set up a very important game here at the Sugarman Sports Complex on Tuesday afternoon that could be essentially for the league championship against Dwight Morrow. Coming into today's action, Dwight Morrow sitting atop the standings, 5-1 in divisional play. Fort Lee 4-1. So again, a win here today would tie them in a dead heat with Dwight Morrow within two divisional games left. The home game against Dwight Morrow and then a road trip to Ridgefield Park. But again, if Fort Lee wants to keep it in their own control, this is going to be of vital importance here tonight against Dumont. As we are underway here under the lights for some Thursday night soccer action, so glad that you could join us. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, glad that you could join us on this Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. As Dumont's going to be in the road white uniforms with the orange numerals, and Fort Lee, the home side, here in their all-black kits, as they'll try to play it up top to Jordana Marcus. Skewered away there by Dumont. Dumont trying to snap a 10-game losing streak on the season. Looking for their first win since early on in the season, as they defeated Ridgefield Park 5-0 back on September 11th, but then have hit this skid of late. As that'll roll out of bounds to the near side, will be a throw-in deep in the defensive side of the field for Dumont. For Fort Lee, they're coming in off a win against Cliffside Park on the road on October 7th, defeating the Red Raiders 3-0. After that, snapped a 3-game losing streak recently for the Bridgemen. Here's a chip opportunity to the far side, but venturing out to secure that possession is Kira Redfern, the junior, in net here tonight for Dumont. Getting the start in goal for Fort Lee is Taylor Badrato, number 1, the junior. Badrato moving from her usual spot as a defender to now playing goalie here tonight for her head coach, Cal Pagano. Pagano, who again led the Bridgemen to an undefeated lead record last season in their first ever American Division Championship. As that's played down the other way, again, Fort Lee's going to try to administer the pressure up top as Marcus will earn that throw-in down the far sideline for the Bridgemen. As we're just moments gone by here, the nice evening, warm evening and afternoon in mid-October. As that will continue to roll its way out of bounds and will be a corner kick now upcoming, the first corner of the evening now for Fort Lee as they'll take it to the far side wing. Fort Lee averaging just under 2 goals a game this season. Trying to get that offense sparked here early against Dumont. They scored 3 times in that first meeting against the Huskies. Here's the corner and headed just in the top of the box. Still loose in front as Dumont still trying to find its way out of its own defensive zone. But there was a prime opportunity there as the Bridgemen had a couple of players lurking inside that scoring area. It was the best opportunity it looks like for number 17, Avery So. The senior who has 2 goals on the season for Fort Lee. She got the header on it, but could not get it on target. Fort Lee doing a good job in the early goings here of putting the pressure on Dumont. Now Dumont clears it past midfield. As that'll go out of bounds, though, a little too wide, right in front of the Fort Lee coaching area. Fort Lee had that daunting schedule that they had to go through in the cross-divisional matchups of the Big North Conference, taking on the likes of Westwood, Ramsey, and Riverdale. Obviously, tough sledding against those 3 teams, but that tough competition, getting them set for return to this divisional action, it worked out wonders in the last game with a 3-0 road victory against Cliffside Park. Here over to the near side, So getting past the defender, but losing that off her foot after that last touch goes out of bounds. Played up top. Sent right back in. Now Marcus takes the shot from up top, and that's going to be easily secured by Redfern. First shot on goal, though, of the night for Fort Lee. Just over 4 minutes gone by here in the early goings of this first half. There's a foul from behind against Fort Lee. They'll be setting up a free kick now for Dumont. The Huskies coming in off a loss on the road against Ridgeville Park in their last game, 5-3. Ridgeville Park was the lone team they defeated so far this season. So the Scarlets enacted revenge and split the regular season series against Dumont. As Redfern will punt that one away. Again, knocked down in possession here for Fort Lee. They try to go with a long ball, and once again, just a little too long trying to lead Marcus in on goal. Jordana Marcus, the junior, 3 goals and an assist this season for 7 points. She's a forward striking up top. The leading scorer for this side is in the midfield, just in front of her, number 7, Alexa Castro, the freshman, has been brilliant in her first varsity season. 6 goals and a team leading 13 points on the year for number 7. As Dumont trying to circle around it. As Carly Landazuri, number 3, was jockeying for that possession. Goes down to the far side, knocked out of bounds. They're going to say last touch off of the defense of Fort Lee, so it's going to be a throw-in now for Dumont on the far side wing. Their first real entry into the offensive side of the field as we're coming up on 6 minutes gone by. It's been all possession for Fort Lee. One good opportunity with a shot on goal, as that's going to be a whistle and a foul inside the box against Dumont. Free kick now taken and play resumed here for Fort Lee. Marcus playing it wide to the near side. Running down that near side here is Avery So. So cutting it back in now with the left foot, tries to get the centered ball inside the box. It gets to the feet of the Bridgeman, was destined for the outside corner, and a good job defensively of sweeping that one away to the near side. As that was set up nicely, Castro was trying to bend it inside that far post, but the defender just ran in to clear it out, as that was on target to go in for a goal. Second corner kick of the first half now for Fort Lee, as the Bridgemen will take it to the near side. Taken, pounced on, but then popped up and over the crossbar, as that will go out of play for a wide shot. So great opportunities with the recent buildups here for Fort Lee on offense, as Alexa Castro was close to making it her 7th goal of the season. Chipped ahead forward. Here's Marcus. Defended inside the box, the give and go, but again, just a little too long. Good opportunity, good build up there for Fort Lee, but the pass just a little too long, allowing the keeper to come off her line to take back the ball. But Coach Pagano has to be thrilled with how his team has come out here aggressively, taking back the possession in the midfield and building up the opportunities up top on offense. Good dribbling there by Castro, made the first defender miss. Basket up top. As that's going to go wide to the far side. Again, it's going to be Landazuri trying to win back the possession, but the sophomore forward could not do that for Dumont. They've been stuck playing primarily in the defensive side of the field for this opening 10 minutes of play. To the midfield, trying to send it up top was Aaron Adamili. Again, long lofted ball. Castro trying to run underneath it, backed off by the defender, who was shielding her away from her goalie, who had come out to handle it. Fort Lee trying to be a little aggressive there at the midfield, with their defense stepping up, as that play was made by Livia Kraut, number 11. Over to the near side, chipped forward. Nice pass there on the play by So. Taken by Castro, 1v1 against her defender, stepping over the ball, trying to come over to the near side, driving it towards the net, but it's going to slowly meander its way into the goalie's hands. Looked like Castro, or Marcus, excuse me, was kind of caught in between whether or not to try a hard centering ball to find a teammate cutting to the net or just to try to deflect it off of the defender near the end line for a corner kick. As that goes to the far side. Now Fort Lee playing it backwards a little bit defensively. One of the few times they've had to come back to track it down. Dangerous pass there, just blindly sent to the midfield. Knocked down by Dumont. As Coster had gotten a piece of it. Now back the other way. Good harassment there of the defender by Castro. As she'll earn a throw in for Fort Lee to the far side. As we come up on 10 minutes gone by here in a scoreless first half of play. Thanks so much for joining us for this Big North American Division showdown under the lights here in Fort Lee. Dumont and Fort Lee locking horns for a second time this season. Fort Lee won the initial meeting back on September 14th, 3-2. Now the foul against Dumont will set up a free kick situation with the ball spotted at the 25-yard line and handled on the far side. So Fort Lee getting ready for this set piece. We'll see if they can have anybody running inside the box here on this delivery. Low lining pass, it squeaks through with a wall in front. But again, nobody there for Fort Lee to get underneath that pass. Fort Lee trying to control the ball on the defensive side of the pitch. As they'll get it past the midfield and send it down the other way, just can't run underneath it. As that harmlessly rolls out of bounds to the far sideline right in front of the Dumont bench. Dumont in that initial meeting, fans, led 1-0 at halftime, but they gave up 3 goals to Fort Lee in the second half. And suffering that 3-2 defeat at home. Last season, Dumont went 5-7 overall, finished third in the Big North American Division, going 3-3 in league play. Currently, they're at 1-5 in league action. They'll finish up the regular season at home against Cliffside Park on October 21st as their final league matchup. They could certainly play spoiler here tonight as Fort Lee still with their mindset on potentially repeating as league champions. To think about that, they have to get a win here tonight. They've dominated the early portion of this game, but still nothing to speak of it. It's scoreless, and now here's the run back to the defensive side for Fort Lee. As they'll win the race to the ball and trying to secure that, and they'll just kick it out of bounds right in front of the corner flag. They had more time, but I think they were just worried that the offense for Dumont was going to be in hot pursuit. So rather than give up anything deep in their own ends, just cleared out a play and set up now the defense as Dumont throws it back in. Ricochets a little bit, pinballs to the far side. Dumont keeping it in. They'll loft it inside, and there was an opportunity, and Fort Lee very fortunate there that offsides was going to be the call, as there was a wide open player that was being unmarked right in front of the net. As it looked to be number 11, Kelly Bambach, the sophomore. That would have been the first opportunity to go against Taylor Bedrado, again getting the start here in goal here this evening. Played over to the near side. Bambach, though, swings and misses with a kicking attempt. That'll set up to the near side now as Fort Lee playing it right on the edge of the perimeter. Good handling there by So. Getting it up top, Castro trying to wheel and deal and get around her defender. Poked it free and secures the turnover. So here's Castro winning the ball back. Playing it to the midfield. Here goes back Castro, splitting that double team, still with it. The outstanding freshman making something out of nothing right now. but could not link up with a teammate down the near side wing. Kara Joyce was trying to chase after it, and there's a player down. It might be Joyce, who's injured right now, so the clock will stop with 26:02 left to go here in the first half, as Joyce, number 21, the sophomore forward, has to be attended to by the training staff as we take the injury timeout. Still scoreless here in the first half of play, as Fort Lee and Dumont playing one another here in a Big North American Division showdown. As I mentioned, Fort Lee snapped a 3-game losing streak with their 3-0 road win recently on October 7th against Cliffside Park, sweeping the 2 games with the arch-rival Red Raiders this regular season. Tonight, the Bridgemen are looking for their first home win since they last won back on September 23rd in a 4-0 win against Ridgefield Park. And again, this game's so important for Fort Lee, not only for their goals of trying to repeat as league champions, and certainly a win here tonight would put them in a position for what would essentially be the championship game in the division against Dwight Morrow this upcoming Tuesday afternoon here at the Sugarman Sports Complex, but also for their state playoff picture. Good round of applause there for Kira Joyce, who gets to her feet, holding on to the back of her neck. In terms of power points, looking at the North 1 Group 3 playoff bracket, the top 16 teams qualify for the postseason. Right now, coming into tonight's game, Fort Lee is ranked 13th in power points. So they need to start winning these games late in the season to assure themselves a spot in that 16-team field. Headlined by the likes of Ramapo, Wayne Valley, Wayne Hills, and Paramus would be your top 4 seeds in the bracket. But right now, coming into tonight's game, Fort Lee would be a part of that playoff picture. If the season ended today, they would be the 13th seed. But again, they could really assure themselves of punching that ticket for the state playoffs with a win here tonight and the win in the next couple of games. There after the timeout, there's a long ball and a chase after it all the way down the other way, and coming all the way out is Pedrato, who has to make the stop because of the advance of a player for Dumont coming down and ahead of steam the other way. Popped over to the near side with that short goal kick. But then a whistle, as it looks to be a handball against Dumont. So we'll resume play with a long ball the other way. Now Castro heading it down to herself in the top of the box and just got it moved away. And now it's going to be an ensuing foul against Castro and Fort Lee. So end-to-end action in the last couple of minutes here, as Dumont had a possibility at a breakaway opportunity, 1v1 with the goalie, and that time Castro had done an adept job of heading it down to herself, just could not get it to her feet for a shot opportunity in the top of the box. Here comes Fort Lee again going up the field. Knocked away, though, this time. Fort Lee got it kind of caught in between. Now trying to dribble in the exterior of the box, and that's cleared out away by Dumont. So Fort Lee has had the lion's share of the possession. They've had the opportunities. Now they got to take a couple more shot opportunities as well to test Redfern in goal. Only one real scoring opportunity so far in this game that was easily handled by Redfern, as that goes down the other way for a goal kick. As we approach now 24 minutes remaining here in a scoreless first half of play. In that first game, only 1 goal in the first half. 4 total goals scored in the second half between the two teams, 3 of which courtesy of Fort Lee. Landazuri trying to chase after it to the near side, goes out of bounds. Now they get it back to her, as Landazuri trying to play it backwards, but Actually was intercepted on the play by Natasha Pearl, number 9. Here goes the foot race the other way, but Fort Lee can't get to it in time. Again, good perceptive goaltending for Dumont, seeing that Castro was the closest player there. Headed down defensively. Ricocheted, good pressure being administered by Fort Lee. And the long ball sent up by Dumont. Kind of takes an awkward bounce, but good defensive work in the back line there by Julia Angelis. Chipped ahead forward by Fort Lee. Here's Angelis again, the senior, who's been that rock in the back line for Dumont defensively. Chipped ahead forward. And again, a little too long there for Fort Lee. Fort Lee has had the possession, but have not had the accuracy on their passes. They've really just tried a lot of long balls, hoping that someone's going to be open. But they've been too long for their forwards to catch up to. That's a better one, leading in stride to the far side. Good defending, though, by Dumont. They'll skewer it away out of bounds to the far side, and will be a throw-in deep in the offensive end now for the Bridgemen. As Coach Pagano will make a substitution as we are under 22 minutes left to go here in the first half of play. So here's the throw-in after the substitution, as that'll be cleared. Back up top. Sent ahead forward again after chasing after it. And Fort Lee once again will earn a throw-in deep in the offensive end of the field. Can they start to generate the shots? They've had the possession here in the first half. They've definitely split the field in half. Rarely have we seen Dumont get past midfield. Trying to go down that near side after the throw-in of the near side by Joelle Park. Just could not keep it in play, though. Trying to get a piece of it was Haley So, number 2. As Dumont now sent it down the long way. Landazuri in hot pursuit. Defending in front of her is Park. Goes down that near side. As Park had to defend, as Dumont taking a page out of Fort Lee's offensive playbook and just sending them long with the long balls. And that service down the near side flank. Last touch off of Dumont, so it's going to be a throw-in deep in the defensive end for Fort Lee. Try to keep it tiptoeing down that sideline, but they actually threw it out of bounds. So Dumont will recapture possession here on offense. With under 20 minutes left to go, we've reached the midway points of this first half of play. No score between Dumont and Fort Lee. Here's Castro in the open field, getting it up top now. Haley So. So doing a nice job of getting past the defender. Ball was left behind, though. Now trying to get it up top as Fort Lee trying to communicate with their back line, shielding off that advancing offensive player in Landazuri, and allowing Badrado to handle it herself. Badrado, who again was listed as a defender at the beginning of the season on the Fort Lee roster, being called into service as the goalie now for Coach Pagano's side. As that will go out of bounds to the near side, will be a throw-in now for the Huskies. Kaya Hughes, number 8, the senior. Down to the near sideline again comes Joelle Park to clean that one up. It'll be a throw-in, though, in the offensive end of the field now for Dumont. Dumont yet to have a shot on target so far here in the first half. That time getting a piece of it was Kraut, as Fort Lee trying to advance up the field. Park sending it forward. Here come the Bridgemen the other way. Haley So takes the shot from distance. A good idea, just curled wide of the mark to the far left side. As So, the sophomore who had 2 goals against Cliffside Park back on September 9th, gave it a ride herself after doing a nice job of getting past a pair of different defenders. That's what Lee needs to do a little more of here. Be aggressive, getting shots. You never know what's going to happen. With rebounds or maybe not even clean saves, gives you that opportunity to make something of the offense. They've had the build-up, they've had the possession. Now they've got to get more shots to test this goalie for Dumont. As we remain scoreless with 17.5 minutes left to go in the first half of play here at the Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee, New Jersey, under the lights of Thursday night soccer action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Dan Long, so glad that he could join us for another edition of Fort Lee Bridgman Girls Soccer. Again, a big one here in divisional play. A lot on the line for the Bridgmen for power points and playoff seeding in the state tournament, as well as trying to keep their hopes alive at a repeat of a league championship this season. As that's thrown in and will roll its way out of bounds past the end line. And will be a goal kick upcoming now with 16:40 and counting left to go before halftime. Redfern's kick is a short one. Got deflected a bit, and now the entry into the offensive zone for Dumont, but the Huskies can't race it down. Quick restart, gets the ball right back in play here for Fort Lee. Trying to make the most of it. They make the turn down the near sideline. Nice turn initially by Avery So. And that's played out of bounds just in front of the corner flag. So Avery So and Fort Lee did a nice job of turning immediately on that restart. Kind of caught Dumont by surprise. So at a goal in their last game against Cliffside Park, has 2 goals on the season. Also had a goal earlier this year against Dumont. Played to the far side. Still, we're searching for our first goal of the evening. Just under 15.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Played a little too wide. That'll go out of bounds, so it'll be a throw-in now. Fort Lee trying to get it to Marcus. Double team comes to her. Clears it away, and it will be another throw-in here on the offensive side for Fort Lee. The Bridgmen went 6-6 overall last season and advanced to the semifinal rounds of the Northeast B Region Sectional Tournament. Again, as they try to put on the pressure in the offensive end. With under 15 minutes now left to go in our first half of play. They went a perfect 6-0 last year in divisional play to win the championship in the league. They're currently at 4-1 in league play with their lone defeat coming against Dwight Morrow, their next home opponent. Here's a shot from distance, and that time, once again, the shot bends to the far left side, this time off the foot of Alexa Castro. As that'll go out for a goal kick, but again, it's been a nice build-up here in the last couple of minutes for Fort Lee. They're starting to get the shot opportunities as they look to open up the scoring here this evening against the Dumont side that's trying to snap a long losing streak on the year and would love nothing more than to do it against a rival in Fort Lee here tonight on the road. They've been solid defensively, just have not been able to produce anything offensively. Here's an opportunity. Fort Lee having to deal with some pressure in their defensive end. Miss hit off of the the foot of Dumont to the near side. Here's going to be a restart and a throw in down that near side as Fort Lee again electing to go with a long pass here to open something up. Goes out of bounds. Good defending there by Angeles. And now it's going to be a throw in for Fort Lee, once again just in front of the corner flag. As Krauts will be the one doing the honors of throwing it in. Gets it inside. Nice turn made on the defender by Avery So. But her centering pass goes hooking wide to the far side and out of bounds. I think So had a little more time than she even thought she did when she made the turn on her defender inside the box. Quickly just tried to have a blind pass going down the far side, and that went out of bounds for the loose kick. With 12:40 and counting now left to go until halftime. Still scoreless between Fort Lee and Dumont. As Redfern has had to make a save just once really here so far in this action. A lot of it has just been her anticipating when these long passes have been coming in for Fort Lee. As the Bridgemen will wait for that to roll out of bounds. And again, here's a quick restart. This has been the MO for the Bridgemen here in this game. These quick restarts and these passes. Trying to find some number opportunities the other way offensively. Into the midfield, the Bridgemen go. As Fort Lee looking for an opening to Avery So down the near side. Stepping up, anticipating that defensive play, was Alex Serrero for Dumont. Nice build-up, though, here for the Bridgemen. Trying to weather the contact they do. They play on over down to the near side. Here's So. So bodying down her defender, nutmegs through the legs, gets the opportunity. There's the pass across the middle. Goes through a host of different players. Goes all the way out. Castro chipping it from deep and nearly hung it inside the top left-hand corner, but just went up and over the crossbar for an ensuing goal kick. But that was the best buildup maybe of this first half after Avery So did a nice job of getting through the defender. And then eventually it caromed out to the feet of Castro, the leading scorer for Fort Lee, who just missed what would have been a beautiful upper 90 goal in the top left corner. As we approach the final 11 minutes of the first half now. To the far side, now Dumont reversing it over to the near side, but tripping over the top of the ball. Unlucky bounce there for Dumont. As they're going to also whistle against Dumont and see if the player is going to be okay, as more than anything, it looked like Kelly Bombach was more frustrated that she had an opportunity to run underneath it and instead got tripped up by the ball. So for the free kick, it's going to be played off to the near side. Again, Fort Lee trying to win back the possession. They've held the majority of the possession in the offensive end of the field here in the first half, but still no goals to speak of in this first half of play. Knocked out of play by Angeles. Will be another throw-in upcoming now for Fort Lee. And once again, that's going to be sent out of play. Castro has been the most dangerous player in this first half for Fort Lee. They try to get it to her now. Angeles, the bigger defender, bodying her up to the near side. Castro trying to back her down. Spins around the advance. Nearly a dangerous play there defensively for Dumont. That was close to being a potential handball in the box. That would have been a penalty kick if it were called. When we play on here as the sub is about to come onto the field for Fort Lee as we approach the final 9.5 minutes of a scoreless first half of play. Such a great move and a creative move offensively by Castro before, lulling her defender to sleep, and then made the quick move that got her down the near end line. Once again, Fort Lee getting into the box, and once again, quickly getting it out of the way. It was the defense of Dumont. But they knock it out of bounds, so it's now going to be a restart here and a throw-in for Fort Lee. Bridgeman moving and inching closer and closer to getting that elusive first goal of the game. Dumont doing just enough defensively to keep this a scoreless game. Once again, trying to link up with Castro. Castro trying to step in front of the defender to get a piece of the ball back. As Dumont is content with just kind of clearing it out of bounds, not really holding on to possession to speak of themselves offensively. They have not really had any shot opportunities in this first half. They've just been camped out on this end of the field and have been doing this throughout. That time it got the last deflection off of Fort Lee, so it's going to be a throw-in now for Dumont. With 8 minutes and change now left to go here in the first half. Will the hard work eventually pay off here? There's a misplay in the defensive end. Fort Lee can race after it inside the box on the far side. They get it up top now, top center. That shot is deflected before it can even get on target. As that goes to the far side now, and that'll be knocked out of play. Last touch off of Dumont, so it's going to be a throw-in now for Fort Lee. So it was another good build-up there for the Bridgemen, but Fort Lee nothing to show for it. After a good couple of deflections and block shot opportunities by the defense of Dumont. As it's played over now to the near side, played backwards. Here's some opening, plenty of green in front of Fort Lee, and Castro switching it over to her left foot. There's a shot from distance, again blocked right at the top of the box. Fort Lee's got to look for a better shot opportunity. Here's Castro, had a little time, hesitates, bringing it closer and closer, takes the shot, saved away by Dumont. Best save of the night there by Kira Redfern, the junior goalie for Dumont, keeping this a no-score game on the best shot opportunity of any player so far. Castro so patient, building it up, bettering her angle, getting closer, and making Redfern dive out for a two-handed save, as that prevents Castro from scoring her 7th goal of the season and first of the night. So we remain scoreless with 6.5 minutes now left to go here until halftime. On the far side edge, that one is serviced over to the near side. Goes a little too long, and that'll go out of bounds for an ensuing goal kick now for the Huskies. So Redfern, when pressed into service, makes the big save to keep this scoreless. With under 6 minutes left to go in the first half. A first half that's been dominated by Fort Lee, but still no advantage on the scoreboard. Dumont trying to put on a little pressure in the midfield as well to win back possession. Comes through a late challenge there. We play on with some contact in the midfield. Here comes Castro into the box. Gets that one cleared away off her foot. So that's going to be an upcoming corner kick now here for Fort Lee, taken in the near side corner. As we're coming up now on 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Fort Lee looking for that breakthrough goal to give themselves a lead just before halftime. They'll take the corner to the near side. Send it to the far post. Player was dragged down in the box, but the officials say play on. Nothing to see there, as it looked like it was Castro, number 7 in black and orange, who was on her back inside the goal area. As that's chipped ahead forward, but again wide of the mark, and will go out for another goal kick. Castro's shot opportunity was the best one of the first half. There was a previous one that it looked like it was going to be destined for the far side post as well. But a defender had swept in right at the last moment to prevent that from heading into the back of the net. Here comes the pressure again, administered by Fort Lee. They have kind of cut this field in half here tonight, fans. Nothing has been really crossing the 50-yard line for Dumont, getting into the offensive end of the field for the Huskies. Strong, aggressive play here this evening for the home side. Here's a ball that finally makes its way past midfield, but right to the feet of the defender, Joelle Park. Fort Lee setting it down the other way. Still stays in bounds. Dumont trying to go back to collect it defensively. Knocked down, though, by Fort Lee. They win the turnover. Here's across the box to the top of the box as So was waiting. So tries to turn around with it inside the box. Again, the pressure. There's a good pass opportunity to the near side, a little too long. Dumont has to go back in its defensive end, but again, they can't secure the possession. They knock it out of bounds, do not surrender the corner, but it will be a throw-in here for Fort Lee as we're coming up on the final 3 minutes of the first half. Chipped back. Kraut, centering ball, loose in front, pinballs around, still loose, and another shot as Redfern has to make the stop. As now it's going to be a whistle as it'll stop, and the clock will stop with 2:58 remaining here. And is this going to be a penalty kick? It looks like it will be. An opportunity here presents itself for Fort Lee on a penalty kick. As Fort Lee setting it up from the spot, from the circle. Dumont trying their best to keep this a scoreless game. As Fort Lee with a grand opportunity with the PK. The shot scores! As Fort Lee will take the lead at 1-0 with 2:58 remaining here in the first half after the successful penalty kick. So Fort Lee was so close to earning a PK earlier in this half, and then they finally cash it in with a late goal in that first half of play. As the Bridgemen score to take a 1-0 advantage after that penalty kick goal. As that rolls down the other way for Dumont and out of play. So a penalty kick goal is the difference so far in this first half. Fort Lee scoring with under 3 minutes left to go before halftime, and you have to feel that that's rightly earned by Fort Lee as well. They have had the better of the play in this first half of action and eventually cash it in with the penalty kick goal. It looked like it might have been a handball for Dumont defensively in the box as they were trying to scramble to get that loose ball in front after Redfern had made an initial save. But again, the penalty kick converted by Fort Lee, and the Bridgemen have staked themselves out to a 1-0 lead just before halftime. A collision ensues near midfield as Kraut is okay, gets back up as Dumont now has some work to do. In the first matchup, they led 1-0 at halftime. Will Fort Lee take the 1-0 advantage with them? Or are they going to try to double their account here as Castro try to turn and fire? Reverses it to the top of the box. There's the shot. It clangs off the far post. Inches away were the Bridgemen from doubling their account here late in the first half. That would have given them a 2-0 lead, and in this one, that might be an insurmountable deficit for Dumont. Good work up top there by the forwards of Fort Lee, and eventually led to that shot that clanged off the far left post. And we'll just go out for a goal kick. As we come up on the final minute of the first half of play, that rolls out of bounds to the far side. As Fort Lee leading 1-0 with under a minute now left to go in the first half. A misplay with the throw in there. It kind of slipped out of the hands of the Fort Lee player, who was kind of trying to hesitate whether or not to throw to one player or maybe try to pull it back and throw to another. So Dumont will get the possession with a restart. They'll throw it in. For Dumont, they're going to have to desperately try to find a way to generate some offense of their own in the second half. They've just not been able to possess the ball, let alone try to maneuver their way up the field and set up an offensive attack. For Fort Lee, keep on doing what you're doing. It's been building up this success. You've earned that penalty kick goal. Now you're trying to add on to it in that second half with under 10 seconds now left to go in this first half. In a big game for Fort Lee in terms of playoff power points and keeping their hopes alive for a divisional title. They will take a 1-0 lead over Dumont into halftime. After 40 minutes of play here at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex, it's Fort Lee on top of Dumont 1-0 as you're watching all the action here on YouTube. Welcome back here for the start of the second half with Fort Lee leading Dumont by a score of 1-0. The difference, a penalty kick goal scored by Haley So, number 2. The sophomore scoring her third goal of the season. And that was a well-deserved goal, an opportunity for Fort Lee, who dominated that first half. They had the possession seemingly for the majority, at least 90% of that first half, as Dumont could not have any time to set up offensively themselves, but just could not find the back of the net until they earned that penalty kick. And so just deposited straight in the back of the net. Now Dumont's going to be trying to flip the script here in this second meeting of the season. In the first meeting, Dumont led 1-0 at halftime before allowing 3 second-half goals to the Bridgemen on the way for a Fort Lee come-from-behind 3-2 victory. Again, on the line here, fans, tonight, Fort Lee, if they want to try to keep in the running for repeating as league champions, have to find a positive result here today and win to set up a matchup for first place against Dwight Morrow in their next home game on Tuesday. Also on the line, power points, valuable power points for Fort Lee, who coming into today's contest were ranked 13th in the power points section of North 1 Group 3. So a lot on the line here for the Bridgemen. For Dumont, they're looking for their first win of the season since September 11th and would love to play spoiler in divisional play against their rivals from Fort Lee. So Marcus trying to turn the corner to the near side, but lost possession and goes out of bounds and will go out for an ensuing goal kick. Fort Lee coming in off a 3-0 victory at Cliffside Park in their last game earlier last week, I should say, on October 7th. They've had a week off since that game to prepare here tonight for Dumont. As Dumont sends that down the other way, having to race back for it. It's going to be a foot race. Dumont getting underneath it, getting it all the way into the box, and forcing Bedrado to come out to make the play there. As Taylor Bedrado, the junior, who again was a defender beginning the season, now being called in as a goalie for Fort Lee. Bedrado saw how dangerous that play was going as her defender had lost the foot race. And Dumont with their best offensive chance of the day, as Annalise Manderson, number 5, the senior, was the one who was running full speed to try to get underneath that opportunity. And if Bedrado didn't come out, that might have been a prime goal-scoring opportunity as well to tie the game for Dumont. Now Fort Lee to the far side wing. Rides that centering ball, gets deflected off of the leg of Angelus, and that will be a throw-in now on the offensive end for Fort Lee. 1-0 the score, the lead in this one for the Bridgemen. Looking for their 5th win of the season. They're 4-6 coming into today's action. Into the box. Here's Castro. Try to make the turn. Good anticipatory defense, though, by Dumont. And they'll clear it out of harm's way to the far side. Castro was so close on a couple of opportunities back in that first half. The outstanding freshman who had a goal in the last game against Cliffside Park had a 4-goal performance against Ridgeville Park earlier this season. Again, trying to post up the defender. That goes out of play for a goal kick for Kira Redfern. 2 more games remain in the regular season after this one for Dumont. Both home games, they'll play host to Dwight Englewood and Cliffside Park in their next 2 matches. For Fort Lee, they'll have that big home game against Dwight Morrow on October 19th here at the Sugarman Sports Complex before hitting the road for their final 2 games of the regular season against Ridgefield Park in their final league game of the year, and a road game on the 26th against Mahwah. As that'll go out of bounds, will be another throw in here for Coach Pagano's Fort Lee Bridgemen. Try to go to 5-1 in league play this year in the Big North American. Knocked down again. Fort Lee doing a nice job of suffocating in the midfield. Up top, as Castro was looking for an outlet. Good ball down to the far side. Fort Lee using the width of the field here. They get to the outer edge of the defensive box, but stymied by the defense there of Dumont. As that's ricocheted out of bounds. Last touch off of Dumont. Defensive player a little slow to get to her feet, and now the referees will allow her to get back onto the field. And it will be a throw-in and possession here for Fort Lee as we're coming up on 5 minutes gone by here in the second half. A penalty kick goal accounting for the lone goal of this game so far under the lights here on a Thursday night. Glad that you could join us on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. As that will once again roll out of bounds and go out for a goal kick. As this will be handled by the junior Redfern. Dumont, much like Fort Lee this season, very similar in terms of their scoring per game. Coming into this one, Dumont scoring 15 goals on the season. Fort Lee had entered coming in scoring 16 goals. What's been a Achilles heel for both teams has been defensively. Dumont had allowed 35 goals on the season while scoring 15. Fort Lee came in only allowing 42 goals through their first 10 games and scoring 16. Well, the defense has been sharp here tonight for Fort Lee, really limiting the opportunities for possession, let alone shot opportunities for Dumont. Again, another good case of defending there for Fort Lee as it's sent out of bounds to that far sideline for the Huskies. Popped up at around the 30-yard line. Chasing after to the far side, Joelle Park. Out good of bounds off of Dumont. It will be a throw-in now for Park, the senior defender. Fort Lee trying to clear it up the field to the far side. But again, it's knocked out of play. Dumont had that great opportunity a couple of minutes ago by Manderson on a full field sprint. She won the sprint against the Fort Lee defender. But it was the great anticipation by the goalie, Bedrado, for Fort Lee coming off her line and winning back the possession of the ball to prevent what would have been a spot-on shot opportunity. As that goes out of bounds now to the near side. As Fort Lee will be throwing it back in with Jenna O. Knocked down, parried forward. Here's Manderson again running after it, and once again, Bedrado anticipating that. As Manderson has started to make her presence felt, Annalise Manderson, number 5, the senior, has been using her speed to open up some opportunities deep in the defensive end of the field for Fort Lee. There's going to be an ensuing foul against Dumont, and a free kick upcoming now for the Bridgmen as we approach 8 minutes gone by here in the second half of action. Dan Long, honored to be on the call here for another edition of Fort Lee Bridgman Soccer. Over to the far side goes Fort Lee, stopping at a dime, trying to look for a big second goal here. Dumont doing a nice job of defending as that'll go out of bounds, and here's another quick restart for Fort Lee. Just in the opening 8 minutes of the second half, it seems like Dumont has been in their offensive side of the field much longer than the entirety of the first half, as there's a long-distance shot, just a little overambitious there for Fort Lee. Sails high and wide and out of play. So Dumont starting to make the necessary adjustments to try to garner a little more possession. We'll see if adjustments are going to be made by Fort Lee as well to try to contend with the speed of Annalise Manderson. Near side, nearly intercepted and taken in by Haley So. So the goal scorer on the penalty kick centers the ball. It's a good one inside, chipped ahead forward, nearly into their own net. There's the follow-up attempt. Here's a shot, and that goes high and wide for Fort Lee. Dumont living so dangerously in their own defensive end, they nearly headed it back into their own net for an own goal. It then ricocheted around and eventually had an opportunity present itself for Fort Lee, but they could not make the most of it as they went high over the crossbar, and Also over the crossbar of the football uprights behind the soccer goal. A second goal here, as I mentioned earlier, might well be insurmountable the way that Fort Lee is defending here tonight. As that goes out of bounds to the near side, will be possession for Fort Lee with 10 minutes gone by here in the second half of play. 1-0, the lead for Fort Lee, trying to find their first home win here since September 23rd as they venture further and further down the offensive side of the field. Corner kick earned by the Bridgemen, so here's a corner. We'll see if they can find someone on the other end of the service. Low liner out in front dangerously. Could have been another handball. As that's sent back in and just wide of the cage. As that will go out for a goal kick. That was close. As the defender in front was seeing that almost bounce off her body and onto her hands. But a clean play there and a missed opportunity on the set piece on the near side. Out of play again. Good job by Marcus of having that deflect off her defender in front of her. They try to pass it into her. She gets the possession, takes the quick shot from outside, and Jordana Marcus missing wide. Marcus, who scored in that first meeting against Dumont back on September 14th, also had a goal in the last game for Fort Lee. For her career, number 23 in black, the junior, 11 goals, 2 assists for 24 points in her Bridgman career. As that caroms out of play to the far side. It'll be possession near midfield now for Dumont. So the Huskies have been holding on here in the last couple of moments defensively. Can they get something going offensively? Fort Lee has been aggressive, having their backline defenders stepping up a little more forward here today to put that pressure on the service of the midfield to the forwards. Here we go again, seeing just that. That long ball down to the near side to Castro, and now the late whistle sounds. And it'll be a violation against Fort Lee, and a free kick upcoming now for Dumont. Pass over to the near side. Nearly intercepted there. As getting a piece of it was Ruka Suzuki. Goes out of play. Will be a Dumont throw-in just underneath us here at the press box at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex here on a beautiful evening for soccer. Alexa Castro showing off that speed in hot pursuit as that is cleared away for a corner kick. So Fort Lee with another corner. That'll send Jenna O, the senior number 8, to the corner flag. Sending this one in. Fort Lee trying to sweep the regular season series against Dumont and go to 5-1 in league play. That would set Fort Lee up with a titanic showdown on Tuesday with Dwight Morrow, a team that's already 5-1 in league play this fall. Going to the far side post, it's Castro. Castro got a piece of it off of the defender, so it's going to be another corner here for Fort Lee. This time it's going to be taken on the far side corner. So Castro got to it, took the quick shot, and in the process had to deflect off the defender to earn another corner. Can Fort Lee do enough here to cash in on a second goal, which would be huge in this one? Give them a little more breathing room. There's out in front and found an opportunity, and Redfern made the save and then held on to the ensuing rebound before it could trickle its way past the goal line. Good pass, found an open Bridgman player. Not a lot of velocity on the shot, though. And Redfern was able to dive over to her left to make the save. So Fort Lee getting tantalizingly close to a second goal in the game. But it remains just a one-goal advantage with 25-25 and counting now left to go here in the second half of play. Angeles knocking it down with the heel. Played back up forward, though, by Fort Lee. Good move there by Dumont with a little break developing here now offensively to the far side, but a little too long in the pass after Landazuri had done a nice job. Excuse me, it looked like it was Sarah Coster, number 15, who had done that nice dribbling display to get past her defender and set up a pass to the far side. Dumont making a couple of subs. As Fort Lee will throw it in down the far side. Chipped over to the center top portion of the scoring box. Chipped over to the near side. Here's Jordana Marcus inside the box. Tries to keep it in play with a left foot. But that last touch betrays her and rolls out of bounds. And that will be a goal kick. Marcus had found her way behind the course of the defense, but was trying to make a play to that near side, but shot it just wide of the mark behind the net. So again, despite that constant pressure being displayed and administered by Fort Lee not with a lot of shots on target in this game. Again, their lone goal courtesy of a penalty kick awarded inside the box and finished off by Haley So. There's a long ball. Racing after it is Avery So to the far side. She wins back possession for Fort Lee. Fort Lee curling around in the box, turn around and fires, and that time it is saved, but not handled securely by Redfern. That'll go out for a corner kick taken to the far side corner now for Fort Lee. So just like the first half, Fort Lee dominating in terms of time of possession. Now starting to test Redfern a little bit more. Looking for that insurance goal in goal number 2 here on a pleasant October evening under the lights. Inside the box, leaks out to the near side. Now trying to race down and win the possession. Fort Lee trying to play it back to space a bit. Now moving inside the box, trying to get past that last defender, but they can't. Good trail defensive work there by Dumont. And now the Huskies look to break out a bit. But Fort Lee doing a great job of pursuing the ball and winning back that possession in the midfield. So now the whistle, as it seems like it's going to be offsides the call against Fort Lee. And a free kick now upcoming for Dumont. Huskies had a couple of good opportunities early on in this half, and it's the same type of way. It's just when it's a full-on sprint. Fort Lee has been struggling in this regard. Whenever there's been an opportunity just for a race to the ball, Manderson has been the faster player. So Jung Won, number 22, has been beaten in a foot race a couple of times, and she smartly just decides to play it out of bounds to the near side. So a rare opportunity now for Dumont to possess the ball on the offensive side of the field. And a throw-in is going to be taken by Julia Angelis. Passing it inside. Again, Dumont still looking for their first real quality shot opportunity of the game. Good defending, though, by Fort Lee right on the edge of the box. And now the Bridgemen break it out in space to the near side. Marcus held possession to the near side. Now it's going to be taken over to the near side by Haley So. So with a centering ball, just a little too long there for Castro, who was showing off her speed as well, just missed out. So Dumont had a good build-up going the other way, just could not get the shot off, let alone on target. Dumont trying to flip the field over to the near side as they were looking for Kelly Bombach. Here's Marcus. going the other way, takes the shot and scores! And there's the monumental second goal of this game. A little more insurance now and breathing room for the Bridgemen as Jordana Marcus scores her 4th goal of the season. And the 2nd goal in as many games for Coach Pagano's side. And Fort Lee doubles their lead now to 2-0 with 20:53 remaining here in the second half of play. So Marcus, who was so close on a couple of other shot opportunities earlier on in the second half, finally cashes in. Patient shot there too, building it up closer and closer to the goal before firing it to the near post. Now Dumont trying to respond immediately the other way, and Badrato again aggressively cuts off the angle and stops that opportunity. That might have been officially a shot attempt. If so, that would have been the first one of the game for Dumont, as they were trying to respond with a goal of their own less than a minute after the goal by Marcus. So Fort Lee continues to keep the Huskies off the board. They lose the possession in the far sideline. But as we approach the midway point of this second half of play, Fort Lee enjoying a 2-0 lead. A penalty kick goal late in the first half of play by Haley So, and Jordana Marcus scoring her 4th goal of the season here around the midway point of this second half of play. Marcus second on the team now in goals scored this season for Fort Lee, just behind her teammate Alexa Castro, who leads the team with a team high and a season high 6 goals. Castro was robbed of an opportunity at goal number 7 earlier in this game. Played to the near side, Dumont again losing the possession. Outstanding defending on the ball there. Down this near side, coming Stephanie Irahita. There's a centering ball. That was a good opportunity. Leads to the open player to the near side. Nearly disastrous there for Dumont. Their defender was trying to clear it, and in doing so, cleared it over to the near side wing, right to the open number 23 in black and orange. And Jordana Marcus, she almost had a wide open opportunity if she had gotten a clean service to take maybe her 2nd goal of this game. Again, the pressure. Here's Castro from outside the edge. Great dribbling. Gets by the defender, but a great tackle there to sweep away the shot opportunity after Castro thought she was going to be all by her lonesome one-on-one against the keeper. Outstanding help defense. And again, here's the run down the near side for Manderson. You don't want to get with her one-on-one in a foot race, as she has been outstanding with her speed. Jumping up is Haley So. So earns the throw into the near side. Now with a quick restart, tries to throw it past the back line defense. So wins back the ball again. Great job of tiptoeing the sideline. Centers the ball, ricochets to the far side, and taken in by Dumont. But once again, Fort Lee just out-muscling Dumont for possession. They've been doing that all evening long in the midfield, and if it does make its way back to the defensive side of the field, they've also been adept at doing that. 2-0 the lead for Fort Lee. Fort Lee scored late in the first half. They scored here in the second half just moments ago to double their lead to 2-0 here, trying to move to 5-1 in divisional play this season and set up a huge game next week here at home against Dwight Morrow for the league title. Headed away to the far side. Will be again a throw-in for Fort Lee. 16:52 and counting. And Dumont will send that one up and over the fencing. And that will go out for a corner kick. Off the corner, it's a header attempt and just headed high off the top left corner. Best corner opportunity of the night for Fort Lee, as they had the player inside the box there for the corner and for that header opportunity, but it just missed the upper left-hand corner. Again, after this one, Fort Lee's next game will be here on the 19th against Dwight Morrow. That's shaping up to be the biggest game of the year for Fort Lee. You'll be able to join us for that broadcast yet again here on YouTube. After that game, Fort Lee, even if they're victorious against Dwight Morrow on the 19th, they still will have to have a result against Ridgeville Park in order to wrap up that official league championship. So 2 more league games after this one, before finishing off with a cross-divisional showdown to finish off the regular season against Mahwah. And for Dumont, just 2 more home games after this one. It's been a tough season for the Huskies, but they were trying to finish off strong here in the fall of 2021. Free kick upcoming now for the Huskies, taken from their own 30-yard line, going down that near side. Here again goes Manderson, the blazing speed, forcing Sojung 1 to quickly clear it out of bounds. You could just hear the crowd, with a good crowd of Dumont fans who have made the trip here to Fort Lee, cheering on every time. That should be the game plan. Just send it down the near sideline and let Manderson race after it. Good things can happen. Castro doing a nice job of staying on sides as Marcus delivers that service into the far side corner, and that time Dumont thinking, let's not be crazy here, and defensively just clear it out of harm's way to the far side and set up for a throw-in now for Fort Lee. If you're just joining us, Fort Lee took the lead after dominating the entire first half. They earned a penalty kick, as it looked to be a handball in the box, and that penalty kick was converted by sophomore Haley So. That gave Fort Lee a 1-0 lead at halftime. They've once again come out strong to start the second half of play, and Jordana Marcus scored her 4th goal of the season and put Fort Lee up 2-0. Here's Manderson again running down the near side, but it just goes out of bounds in time. Good job by Joelle Park of knowing her surroundings and using that sideline as another defensive teammate. Here's Marcus now reversing it over to the middle of the field. Fort Lee winning it back. Good dribbling in that midfield, as that was Ruka Suzuki, the freshman, as Dumont trying to race underneath it. The Huskies leaving it to the top of the box, but again cleared away by Fort Lee. Coming up on the final 13 minutes of the second half of play, Dumont trailing Fort Lee by a score of 2-0. Fort Lee trying to make it 2 consecutive wins on the season. There's a long ball. It's a race out front, and that time it's won by Redfern, the goalie. If she didn't get to that, that was going to be easy pickings for Alexa Castro. So both goalies playing aggressively here tonight, and that is to their benefit, as both teams have been ones for the long service balls that need the players to run underneath it. As that gets knocked out of play to the far side, it will be a throw-in the defensive end for Dumont. Dumont trying to avoid a shutout loss. Their last shutout came in a 5-0 defeat against Dwight Morrow on October 7th. They put up 3 goals in their last game, but lost 5-3 against Ridgeville Park. As Fort Lee trying to leave it off to the far side again, just a little too much, and trying to leave it off for the teammates. There's the hustle on the far side wing for Castro. Tries to slide to keep it in play, but also does a great job of deflecting What does he do? So as they just rectify the time situation, 10:27 on the clock here in the second half, as it's going to be a corner kick upcoming now for Fort Lee, taken in the far side corner. Fort Lee looking for their third goal, and there's a header just wide of the mark to the near side post. So the last two corner opportunities were the two best ones of the night for Fort Lee. Both times getting a teammate on the other end of the service with a head, but both times missing just to the near side post. As we are now down to 10 minutes remaining here in the second half of play. 2-0, the lead for Fort Lee. Looking for their fifth win of the season in game number 11. There's a centering ball. Good defending, though, by Dumont. As that trickled through the heart of the defense, Fort Lee got a piece of it, but could not square and turn it into a clean shot opportunity. So time starting to dwindle down here for Dumont. Landazuri earning the foul against Fort Lee. So a free kick now for the Huskies. Just over 9 minutes left to go in the second half. Knocked down, mishit a bit by Fort Lee, so a gradual build-up here into the offensive end for Dumont. Can they get a clean shot opportunity, though? That is something that has been definitely lacking here tonight. That's a credit to the defense of Fort Lee, looking to pitch and produce their second consecutive shutout victory in league play. Out to the open field. There's the long ball up top to Castro. Castro maneuvering through the defense, trying to get through all the different defenders in white. Dizzying run up the field by Castro. The freshman just losing possession of the ball, and Dumont will have to recollect in the defensive side. But again, it looked like the Huskies had a little more time than they had thought. And they just pass it simply out of bounds to Coach Pagano and Fort Lee's sideline. 8:25 and counting now left here in the second half as Fort Lee trying to salt away this victory. Over to the far side, taken down by Fort Lee. There's contact and the whistle sounds as it's going to be a foul against Dumont as both players hit the deck. With 8 minutes and counting now left to go here in the second half. As the Dumont player, still a little worse for wear at the end of that play. And now the whistle sounds and the referee stopping the clock. With 7:50 left to go in the second half and the training staff out to attend to the Dumont player who's, again, on the field after that collision. It was going to be a foul against Dumont, and free kick upcoming now for Fort Lee. Again, if Fort Lee goes on to win, this will be their first win here at home since September 23rd. They had to run that difficult gauntlet against some of the cross-divisional teams in recent times, including the last time that they were here against Riverdale. So now, Fort Lee trying to use that experience to their advantage when coming back into divisional play, and they're going to be finishing up the season against the likes of Dumont here tonight, Dwight Morrow in their next game, and then the game after that at Ridgefield Park. So the next three are the most important ones on the season in the division. So the free kick upcoming now after the injury timeout. The ball spotted at the 20-yard line, 7:50 left to go here in the second half. Fort Lee already on top, 2-0. A dominant performance this evening at home for the Bridgemen. trying to go to 4-3 at home as well this season. With the wall set up in front. Again, this set piece from 20 yards away. Fort Lee lining it up, chipping it up and over, and just going a little too high over the crossbar. That was a nice job of taking that free kick, but just a little too high after they were trying to tuck it in underneath the crossbar, as that will go out for a goal kick. So Dumont will have only one league game left after this one. That will be their season finale against Cliffside Park on October 21st. As again, the whistle sounds and some contact. And they're going to say it's the foul against Dumont, so another set-piece opportunity here just outside the scoring box for Castro and Fort Lee. 7 minutes now left to go in this one. Castro looking for her first goal of the evening. Right outside the box. Here's the chip shot right into the top of the wall, right back to Castro. Castro will play it wide now to the far side. Centering ball, but a little too long, and allows Redfern to come out of her crease to get control and drop kick this one away. Jostling for position to the far side. And that'll go out of play. Should be a throw-in upcoming now for Fort Lee. Dumont again has just not been able to break past the defense of Fort Lee in the midfield and even set up scoring opportunities, passing it around the perimeter. They have not been able to do any of that. Fort Lee has just been unbelievable here tonight of being aggressively with their midfield and with their forwards of splitting the field in half and just garnering possession after possession and setting up these opportunities for set pieces and corner kicks. They've scored twice in this one. And try to look for more here with another set piece after the whistle. As Fort Lee will handle it to the far side. Marcus and Haley So are your two goal scorers. And that one is easily chipped into the breadbasket of the keeper for Dumont. As Kira Redfern and company will set up and set the ball down the other way. That'll roll out of bounds down that far side. We're in front of So Jung Won, one of the senior defenders on this team for Coach Pagano. With under 5 minutes now left to go here in the second half of play. Sent long down the other way. Down that far sideline. Fort Lee trying to cut back in. Good defending there by the two players in white for Dumont of making sure that they were not split in between. Fort Lee began the season with back-to-back wins, or three back-to-back wins, I should say, in league play at home against Cliffside Park and Dumont, and now an opportunity here to once again defeat Dumont this season after winning 3-2 on the road against the Huskies back on September 14th. And that big game looming on October 19th. Again, everything is going to be on the line. If this result stands, Fort Lee will go to 5-1 in the Big North American Division. They will take on 5-1 Dwight Morrow on October 19th for sole possession of first place, with then one league game remaining for both teams. As that one is a tough one that is ricocheted into the Dumont player, who's a little worse for wear afterwards. Might have gotten the wind knocked out of her briefly, as she is going to be attended to here with the clock stopped with 3:20 left to go. That was tight quarters and definitely ricocheted off of the Dumont player, who again is trying to recapture some wind after that one was hit high. Good to see that the player, Kelly Bombach, is okay for Dumont, as she'll have to head off the field. And a sub will come in her stead. With 3:20 now left to go in the second half of play. Dumont, if there's going to be any chance of a comeback, needs to get shot opportunities starting ASAP. As Lacey Barrick came into the game, trying to send that service down the near side. Just a little too long, though, as that'll go out of play for a goal kick. So earlier in this month, Fort Lee was in the midst of a 3-game losing streak after they dropped that game here against Riverdale. Now looking to bounce back, it would be 2 consecutive wins in divisional play. And it'd be by a margin of 5-0 in the 2 games. The defense has been as advertised. That's been that Achilles heel this season for Fort Lee, allowing 42 goals on the season through their first 10 games. But back-to-back shutouts going to be the recipe for success for the rest of this regular season. As that goes down the far side, and Fort Lee's going to be whistled for the foul. Again, for Fort Lee, this will also help matters, as they're trying to collect as many power points as possible in North 1 Group 3. Coming into today's action, ranked 13th. You have to finish in the top 16 in order to qualify for the postseason. Fort Lee will try to keep their playoff hopes alive in the next couple of games, and not only just focus on being in position for a league title, but also trying to qualify in one of the toughest sections in the state, North 1 Group 3, that has the likes of Ramapo, Wayne Valley, Wayne Hills, and Paramus as the top 4 seeds in the group right now, as we approach the final 90 seconds of the second half. It'll be a free kick upcoming now for Dumont. Just shy of the midfield. Settled down to the top of the box, left behind. Dumont had an opportunity briefly. Running underneath it to the near side, trying to get that one was Brianna Manderson, number 9. We've seen her sister, Annalise Manderson, being a pest for the back line of Fort Lee. That time her twin sister, Brianna, a fellow senior, nearly had a scoring opportunity late in this contest, with now 45 seconds and counting left to go in the second half. Fort Lee looking for the 2nd consecutive shutout victory. That would be their 3rd shutout win of the year. As a handball is the call, and a free kick upcoming now for the Bridgemen. So Fort Lee does what needed to be done here tonight. They hold serve at home against Dumont, and now sets up that big matchup against Dwight Morrow for sole possession of first place in the next game. Again, it would not clinch the overall league championship, but would clinch at least a share of the league title if Fort Lee is victorious against Dwight Morrow. But before worrying about that one, they worried here tonight about Dumont and a dominant performance by the Bridgemen of Fort Lee on their way to a 2-0 victory here at home against the Huskies. Fort Lee with a win will go to 5-6 on the season, 5-1 in the Big North American Division. And again, join us, fans, for that big game next week on October 19th, a home game, as Fort Lee will play host to Dwight Morrow, with first place on the line for the victor in that one. So join us then, as you did here tonight, for another edition of Fort Lee Girls Soccer Action here on the Fort Lee Athletics Channel. For Dimitri Nanis, I'm Dan Long saying so long and have a good evening.